and also to be a deputy here and introduce yourself. So you know about him. I would neglect to do one thing as for the meeting. I want to know how many people have moved here in the last year. Anyone want to raise your hand? Okay. Well, would you mind just standing up briefly, just introducing yourself?
Stand up.
Hey.
Hi.
Stand up.
My name is Jim Parker.
And I'm Gail.
And we moved here about 6 weeks ago.
Was another set of hands
Part
there?
of the island, where's here?
Madrona Road.
Come on, you can stand up. Come on.
I'm Dawn,
I'm Luke.
and we moved here last July, so
Just
about
over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you
But
living?
she grew up on the island, so I don't know.
I'm the
Yeah.
child of these two.
Well, welcome back.
Yeah, giggity back and
Did I miss anyone? There was another hand somewhere.
Hello, I'm Eileen. I live on Reed Road in a flat spot where you saw a little building go up in the last week.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm actually moved in, I built about a year ago, moved in just before Thanksgiving, but I've been in the area for about over 40 years. And bought my property about 18 years ago.
Wonderful. Welcome on. Well, did I miss anyone? Okay, our next speaker is David Seabrook, who is the East Jefferson Fire County Commissioner, and he's up for re-election, but I don't think anyone is running for that position against you, but I wanted him to have a chance to introduce himself and see if people had questions, and some of that just came up about the care services.
Yeah,
So come on up and
thanks.
tell you.
Thanks. And there is someone running against me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was my mistake.
No, that's no problem. Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks for having me out. I love it out here on Marrowstone Island. I'm your fire commissioner representing District 2. The fire district is split up into 5 different districts. So Marrowstone Island and most of Chimacum, all of Chimacum basically, is in what they call Commissioner District 2. And it's East Jefferson Fire Rescue. We cover all the area from Port Townsend all the way basically down to Highway 104, out to and including Port Ludlow. We merged with Port Ludlow in 2023. And down towards like Eagle Mount Road where it intersects with Highway 20. So all that area is East Jefferson Fire. And I am running for re-election this year. I've been a fire district commissioner for 7 years, since 2018, and ran for election in 2019, unopposed at that time. But I do have an opponent this time, so I'm here looking for your support and your vote. I've got some printing, some cards for you to take a look. I'll pass them out. But apologies, the printer showed them to me, and the front goes this way and the back goes that way.
No.
So if you're really, OC about this, call me up and we'll get you a new fresh card. She said they'd be in tomorrow. But I'll just pass these down on the tables for anyone that's interested. And there's more on the back table as well. But like the sheriff, I think I would do best to just introduce myself briefly and then sort of open it up for questions. Basically, we agreed I'd take about 5 minutes max, and then open it up for 5 minutes of questions, and then let you guys get back to business. But I've been a career-long firefighter, paramedic, and then promoted up through the ranks through captain and retired as battalion chief. I worked most of my career down in Southwest Washington with the Vancouver Fire Department. So from 1990, and then I retired in 2014. Before that, I started out as a firefighter in Sedona, Arizona, and spent 5 years there, and I did some work in Flagstaff, and then we moved up to the Northwest in 1987, 88, excuse me. And then, like I said, I retired in 2014 and got on the sailboat about 2 weeks later and went down the Columbia River and took a right and ended up in Port Townsend, and we sold the house down there, and my wife retired in 2015, and we moved up here and officially in late 2015 and spent 2016 going to Alaska. But then when we came back, we found a nice place on West Valley Road in Chimicum, about 2.5 miles down from where you turn off of Rhodey Drive. And it's just been my practice throughout my whole career to get super involved in the community. I've served on a lot of the boards of a lot of nonprofits. And so the first thing I did, even before we found a house and got off the boat, I was still fresh off the boat and started joining organizations like Local 2020 and the Local Food System Council. I've done some time with the Conservation Futures Committee. Is anybody aware of that group? They're kind of like Jefferson Land Trust, but a county organization. There's actually, if you look on your tax bill, there's a line item for Conservation Futures, not much, but we assist like agencies like Jefferson Land Trust do some of their stuff. And then I was asked to join the board at East Jeff Fire Rescue and said yes right away. And I really have been enjoying it. Over these past 7 years, we've actually gotten a lot of things done. I should have saved one of those cards, but if you turn it onto no, it's on the front side. You know, we've finalized the annexation with Port Townsend. We've merged with Port Ludlow. With the voter support, we passed a levee lid lift a couple years ago. What else have we done here on Marrowstone Island? Well, with people like Bruce and Bud and Jim involved, we got Fire Station 5 going. In fact, Jim Nierenberg's help and influence as basically the de facto project manager was just invaluable. And I don't know if or when it would have got done without Jim's help. So thank you again. So we've been doing a lot of other good things over these past years. I really feel a great sense of pride in being part of the East Jeff Fire organization, and the quality of service that you get here is unparalleled, especially for a community of this size, and especially I'm talking about emergency medical services. I know Marrowstone Island has a proud history with MIMS. Are there any former members of Marrowstone Island EMS? Okay, well, you guys deserve applause for your. That's how I started in Sedona, as just a total volunteer, transporting people without charging them anything, and it just warms your heart to be able to say that when you get to the hospital and they go, okay, how much do I owe you? And you say, it's all right. You know, we'll see you when you get back in town. But where was I going with that? I'm just so proud of East Jeff Fire. We've added some people to the staff. We're doing community risk reduction. We have a specialized manager to handle that. And one of the programs near and dear to my heart is the CARES program, which we've talked a little bit about. But I have, you know, some of the stats for the CARES program from the 2024 annual report, which you can get online at ejfr.org, and you can download it easily. But calls for service were up in 2024, 1,363 calls. This was different people that they contacted. That doesn't include, you know, visiting somebody 80 times to try and get them past their dementia issues. But this was the very sort of thing that I focused on when I went back to school at WSU and got a master's in public affairs. And I focused on ways that the fire department personnel could assist with connecting people with the social service agencies and the public health entities and programs, because it really is a complicated network of service programs, and it's really hard to figure out how to navigate the whole system. And that's what the CARES people are so good at. So I'll leave it there. I just hope you look over my information, and hopefully you can support me with your vote when the ballots come out in middle, maybe third week of October. And of course, election day is November 4th, and you have to have your ballots back by then. Questions?
Yeah, two questions. To what extent do you interface with OLICAP?
They interface quite a bit with OLICAP,
They.
the CARES team especially. And I interacted with OLICAP quite a bit when, during COVID, when we activated the EOC, and I was designated as the food group leader. So I was in charge of going out to the grocery stores and checking on the status of goods on the shelves, talking to the store managers, seeing if they would get their orders in, and also talking with OLICAP about their programs and their capabilities and what they were doing to keep the food banks going. We kept tabs on the demand for service at the food banks to make sure they weren't, having to drop people.
The other question is, when or if, or is it already the case, I apologize for being ignorant about this, but is the Marrowstone Fire Station manned?
It's not staffed, 24/7 with personnel. And that's there's volunteers that are stationed out of there. I was just reading about, on this report again, refreshing my memory about Station 5. And it's right up front here, opening up Station 5. And they talked about the personnel that are out there, and that now we have one of our firefighters in training. They call them FITs. So these are people that are getting a stipend and basically working regular shifts with the on-crew station crews. And one of those is living out here on the island as well.
So is there a protocol or an avenue for people to volunteer, to participate, and to be part of that?
Yes, definitely. From my experience, as I started out as a volunteer and had certain experiences, and as soon as I moved up to the Northwest, I volunteered with my local fire department down in Vancouver. But here, the volunteers are really integrated with the paid crews. Here, they are really valued. We have a lot of specialty volunteers, like the people that drive water tenders. People that are too old, like me, to be going inside an interior structure fire, but can drive the water tenders out to the scene. And so they really are a critical component of our whole response program.
Yeah, time for one more question.
And the support is pretty amazing for the volunteers. They'll pay for all your training and put you through everything.
I'd like you to confirm or deny a rumor I just heard today. You referred to the lid lift of 2 years ago. I heard that the fire department's going to go for another lid lift in the near future. Is that true or not?
Yes, I come to you straight from a fire district meeting that we had that ended about 5. And we discussed that, and we decided that we would go out for the, probably go out for the February election next year. And we're settling on a rate of around $1.40 to ask for. There's some chance to change that, but that's what was voted on today.
And you miscalculated 2 years ago, or you felt it was too much to do all at once? Why not? Why is this so soon that you're going for another lid lift?
Well, the funding situation for fire districts is that we set a certain rate, and we make a budget, and we collect a certain amount of money, and we're held to that amount of money for the next year, but we can raise it by only 1%. And each year we can only raise it by 1%. Cost of personnel, cost of fire engines, cost of supplies and fuel and everything. Inflation's much higher than 1%. So we're starting to fall back behind where we were years ago. Whereas now we've got like a capital reserve program, and we've got 2 fire engines on order to replace the aging equipment. So the short answer is that we're losing ground against inflation and the cost of all of our inputs in terms of personnel and operational resources. We have time for any more?
When you be able to stay here after the meeting, or do you have to roll on?
Sure, I'll come back.
I have a question that other people might.
Well, go ahead, let's do that, make that the last question.
My question was about dialing 911 because we have really bad phone reception, and so then we got a landline thinking that would work, but the landline is also cellular. And I was told that even when the power's out or the thing's gone, that 911 is still supposed to work, but I didn't want to test it. So I'm wondering, how does that work? Does it really work? It sounds mysterious.
Short answer again is going to be, I don't really know. But this is one of my biggest concerns, and if you see at the bottom of my card, my #1 priority for my next term is to focus on our operational resilience so that we can be there for you no matter what. If the power goes down, if the internet goes down, if the cell phones don't work and the landlines don't work, we've got to find a way to work around these issues, and it's not going to be easy, and it takes some imagination to imagine the scenarios that might develop and how we can do what we need to get to you when you need help. So I'm happy to talk after with you in more detail, and I think for now I better close.